sir, when to start. Okay. Okay, sir. Can I start now, sir? Okay, sir. Good morning to all the dignitaries, guest speakers, faculty members, healthcare professionals, and all the students present in this webinar. Myself, Subarna Debnath, and my co-host, Ms. Sarbari Saha, on the behalf of Tripura Institute of Paramedical Sciences, congratulate you for the World Radiography Day. Every year, we celebrate this day by organizing rally and different scientific sessions. But due to this pandemic situation, this year, we are celebrating it in the online mode. On the occasion of World Radiography Day 2020, Tripura Institute of Paramedical Sciences is organizing a webinar on basic principles of medical imaging and elevating patient care with artificial intelligence. It is obvious that this year we are missing our students and their participation, but I hope through this virtual platform they will be able to connect with us. Today, we are celebrating 125 years of discovery of X-ray. On 8th November 1895, on this day, William Conrad Röntgen discovered the existence of X-rays. International Day of Radiology is celebrated around the world in recognition of the remarkable contribution made by medical imaging to the healthcare system and role of radiology professionals in providing quality care to the patients. Now, I would like to request our Chief Patron, Professor Dr. Chhanda Banerjee ma'am, to give the welcome speech and start the webinar session. Principal ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Principal, ma'am. Principal, ma'am, please start your speech.
Good morning to you all. Today is International Day of Radiology. I convey my warm greetings to our honorable guests in the dais, Mr. S. Tamijeselvan, Assistant Professor of Radiology, Mother Teresa, Postgraduate and Research Institute of Health Services, Pondicherry. Honorable guests, Mr. Nitish, Virmani, Assistant Professor of Gurugram, Haryana, Guru Gobind, Singh, Tricentenary University. Our respected Chief Radiologist of TIPS, Dr. Raichand, Saha, our beloved coordinators, Dr. Subarna, Debnath, Assistant Professor of Radiology, and Dr. Sarbari, Saha, Assistant Professor of Radiotherapy of TIPS. Last but not the least, my warm greetings goes to our beloved staff and students of Tripura University of Paramedical Sciences. We are here to celebrate the International Day of Radiology on 8th November 2020. Our institution runs 7 paramedical courses Radiology and radiotherapy occupies a very important position. The reason for celebrating this day on 8th November, because on this very day in 1895, William Conrad Röntgen discovered X-ray. He discovered it accidentally while investigating cathode rays effect, and thus effectively laying the foundation for the medical discipline of radiology. This day was officially confirmed by the three founding societies during RSNA meeting in Chicago on November 28, 2011. At present, radiology has occupied a very essential position in our daily life for diagnosis of not only orthopedic but also other disciplines of diagnosis of medical, surgical, and whatnot subjects. Before diagnosis and treatment of any case, radiological examination is a must in almost all cases. Nowadays, many radiological researches have revolutionized modern medicine, produced great technological advances, and saved many lives. Radiological professionals are working together throughout the year to inform patients about the valuable role of medical imaging in the patient's care. Unlike previous years, this year we are compelled to arrange this meeting virtually online due to pandemic of coronavirus. However, celebration of this day of radiology will certainly boost the inspiration of students and staff of our institution to a great extent. Thanking you all for joining this meeting.
Happy Radiography Day, Madam. Thank you for your valuable words and inaugurating our guest. So, now, without further ado, we
Subarna,
will turn the time over our first educative session for today's webinar. There is a famous saying by Isabel that every shadow, no matter how deep, is threatened by the light. So, to bring light to this session, we have our first guest speaker, Mr. S. Tamijeselvan, sir. Sir is
কিছুই
MPhil,
শুনতেও পাচ্ছি না,
MSc
কিছুই না।
Physics, MS Sociology, MS Psychology, MSCA, MRIT, PGDCA, PGDRIT, and at present working as an assistant professor in Mother Teresa Postgraduate and Research Institute of Health Sciences in Pondicherry. Sir has 31 years of experience in the field of radiology, which includes 20 years of teaching experiences in academic field. Blessed to you, sir, and happy Radiology Day, sir. Sir also has completed RSO first
Okay,
level
thank you.
training in BARC in 2009. Sir has published 2 books of radiology, which includes Radiographic Procedure and Special Investigation and Manual of Radiological Positionings. Sir also has many publications and research articles, among which there are 11 international publications too. Sir has presented 36 papers both in national and international conferences. Sir is also the member of Board of Studies in Radiological and Imaging Technology of Pondicherry and chairman of Valuation Board of Health Science courses. Really, we are blessed to have you, sir. It's not the end here. Sir has been honored with Pearl Foundation Best Assistant Professor Award to his outstanding contribution in the field of radiology in 2017 recently from India. Yes. Remember always, back to basic always strengthens the foundation. And today, Sir is here with us to present on the topic basic principle of medical imaging to strengthen all our foundations of our radiology field. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and being with us. Over to you, sir. The entire platform is yours now. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. I would like to thank the Chief Patron, Professor Dr. Chhanda Banerjee, Madam, and the course coordinator, Dr. Raichand Saha, Sir, for giving me this opportunity to be a resource person on this special occasion. Even though we are not able to conduct this program physically, we are conducting it through the digitally through a also extend my thanks to coordinator, Assistant Professor Subarna Debnath, and Sarbari Saha for organizing this wonderful program. And today we are going to have a wonderful session. I'm sure that first of all, I wish to give a warm greetings and wishes to World Radiography Day today. I wish all the radiographers, radiographic students, radiologists, and all radiation workers who are doing nicely for the pandemic situation. I wish you all a good, happy World Radiographic Day. And from the invention, that is the year 1895, Röntgen discovered X-ray. From the day itself, from the day onwards, our radiology department take off in a newer height with lot of newer modalities, still flying high and high. We are reaching full by the invention, and we are flying more and more because of the event of the discovery of the X-ray. So today my webinar topic is about the basic principles of medical imaging. Basic principles of medical imaging. Though the building is very smart and very big and it is very tall, the foundation is very much important to stand the building. Okay, so that's why I think basic principles is very important for the career and for your future education. So I took this topic, imaging. First of all, what is medical imaging? What is medical imaging? Medical is the technique and process of creating visual representation of the interior of the body for clinical analysis. It is also useful for medical intervention as well as visual representation of the function of some organs or tissue, that is the physiology, the function of physiology. Medical imaging seeks to reveal internal structures hidden by the skins and bones. It is useful to diagnose that and treat the disease. So because of the diagnosis only, we can identify the particular treatment. Medical imaging also established a database of normal anatomy and physiology to make it possible to identify the abnormality. This point makes evaluation, the basic evaluation or basic point for the evaluation of artificial intelligence. In artificial intelligence, we are putting that the medical imaging, the database of normal anatomy, and we are identifying the abnormal thing from the normal one. Why it is called medical imaging? First of all, first it starts with the radiography or radiology. First, our department is called radiology department because we are using only radiation, that is X radiation, for the diagnostic purpose. Okay. Then the radiology department comes and it is renamed as, or it is partitioned by radiodiagnosis and radiotherapy. Radiodiagnosis in particular for identifying the disease by medical images. Okay. Then the radiography comes called medical imaging because not only using the radiation, we are not only using sound waves, we are using magnetic resonance, and we are using some other thing for the medical imaging. So now it becomes radiology and medical imaging technology, or radiology and medical imaging sciences. So that is the evaluation of the term medical imaging. Now, I know I'm not going to take any class, so don't be afraid. I'm not giving your assignment, just to share some of the views which I know and which I feel it is very important for every student and every technologist. So I took this topic in a very simple manner. First of all, basic principle of medical imaging. According to me, I divided the basic principle of medical imaging to the following criteria. First one is attenuation and penetration. The second one is magnetic relaxation and resonance. The third one is absorption and emission. And fourth one is attenuation and reflection. The reflection is otherwise known as echo. So, basis on these criteria, I am going to explain the basic principle of medical imaging one by one. The first point is attenuation and penetration. Attenuation is the reduction of the intensity of a ray when it interacts matter. Suppose any radiation, any electromagnetic radiation, when it is getting interacted with the body or with some process, it underwent some process. The process or the ray can penetrate the ray can matter. That is called penetration. If the wave or ray is capable of said to be, then the process is said to be penetrating. That is one process. What are the other process? When it is getting interacted, when ray is getting interacted in the matter by the surface itself, when it is entering into the surface itself, some of the rays or some part of the rays have been scattered. So this is the second one, scattered. Okay, and some of the radiation, when it is passing through the matter, when it is passing through the body tissue, it is getting absorbed. It is getting absorbed. So here we are seeing three types of process. One is penetration. It is simply the passing through of the radiation of the matter. What about the the next one is scattering from the surface, and the third one is absorption inside the matter. Absorption inside the matter. This absorption and scattering put together, the combination or the cumulative effect of the scattering and the absorption coins the term attenuation. So attenuation is nothing but the absorption and the scattering. In particular, it is termed in physics as loss of energy, because when it is penetrating through the body, some of the energy is getting lost. See the arrow, it is very much bigger here. When it is getting penetrated here, it is very small. When compared to this arrow is very small. What does it mean? There is some loss of energy. This loss of energy is due to two factors. One is scattering, another is absorption. These two factors put together coins the term attenuation. Now you can understand what is attenuation and what is penetration. Coming to the imaging modality based on attenuation and penetration. There are two modalities, plain X-ray or plain radiography. Another is cross-sectional image, that is computed axial tomography, CT scan or CAT scan. So coming to the plain X-ray or plain radiography, what is the process doing there? We all know this is an X-ray tube. From the X-ray tube, after some process, it will produce the X-ray. It will produce the X-ray. So primary photons. Here in this area, the X-rays are of homogeneous pattern. By homogeneous pattern, these X-rays are having a same energy. So it is called homogeneous pattern. So the X-ray coming from the X-ray tube is more or less homogeneous. Not we can say 100%, it is more or less homogeneous pattern. So these X-ray getting interacted with the body. This is the body. Consider this as a patient, okay, lying down in the prone position. Here it is a spine and this is the abdomen. Okay, here one by one we can see some of the rays have been absorbed. These X-rays are getting absorbed. Okay, here it is getting scattered and here it is getting penetrated. As I told earlier, when the ray is interact with the matter, it underwent three types of process, that is absorption, scattering and penetration. So these penetration after, or you can say the X-rays, the homogeneous X-ray beam, after getting
Excuse me, sir.
penetration.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, please make your slide full screen.
Madam, there is a problem with the slideshow, so I can't do that now.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay,
is
sir.
it
Then
okay?
It is okay, sir. Okay, sir. Then it is okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Actually, when the X-ray, that is the whole X-ray, that is the homogeneous X-ray beam, when it's getting interacted with the body, it underwent three types of process. One is absorption, scattering, and then it is known as, you can say, the image receptor. The penetration rays receives and it received by the image receptor. Here, the heterogeneous beam, here it is called heterogeneous beam. Why it is called heterogeneous beam? Because the energy level is different in different area. It is different in different area. In one area, the intensity may be high. In one area, the intensity may be low. The difference in the intensity makes us to view the image, to form the image on the image receptor. Why there is a heterogeneous pattern? Because the X-ray absorption and scattering, or you can say the attenuation, depends upon the tissue's atomic number, that is the density of the tissue, and one more thing, the thickness of the tissue. These are the two factors which determine the attenuation. What are the two factors? One is the thickness of the body or thickness of the tissue. Another one is the density of the tissue, or you can say the atomic number of the tissue. So these are all the two factors that determine the attenuation. So if the attenuation is more, then the remaining thing will come, that is the penetrated will be having a less intensity. Okay, so depends upon, consider two tissues. One is bone, another is soft tissue. When the X-ray passing through the bone, the density of the bone is more, the atomic number is more, so it absorbs more energy, and the penetrated ray will have only less intensity. When it is passing through the soft tissue, it is reverse. That is, it absorbs very less energy, and penetrated beam will have comparatively more energy. This difference in the intensity of the X-ray makes an image on the image receptor, which then convert into a readable image. The image formed in the image receptor, it is in the latent form. So this is the image formation I am giving in a flowchart manner. This is the first incident X-ray beam. As I told, it is a homogeneous beam. It is getting interacted with the patient. After getting interacted, the different tissues absorbs a different rate of the X-ray. So after the penetration, what happened? The transmitted beam, it is called transmitted X-ray. This transmitted X-ray beam is heterogeneous and the energy level is different in different part, depending upon the tissue in which the X-ray is getting penetrated. Okay, so after the transmitted X-ray, it is reaching the image receptor. What is image receptor? It may be of a screen film cassette, a CR plate, or DR CCD device, or DR flat panel device at any cost. Okay, but within this, okay, these three steps are same in the case of all those things, that is screen film radiography, computer radiography, and digital radiography. Only thing is the image receptor is different. In the screen film radiography, it is screen film, and in the case of computer radiography, it is CR plate, and digital, it is CCD or digital flat panel. Okay, there it forms a latent image formation. It forms a latent image. The image is there in the image receptor, but we can't see. So that is known as hidden image. That is termed as latent image. That latent image formed on the image receptor, which can be converted into real that by the processing method. It may be a ordinary manual processing or automatic processing or by reader or DR processing. In any one of the method, it is getting processed. The latent image is converted into real image. So this is the plain radiography. You all know. Now we are coming to the tomographic principle. I'm not going in depth to the principle. We can see the tube is getting moved. The tube is, it is getting image. Okay, the tube and the image receptor is getting moved. Okay, it is getting while exposing. Okay, it forms a cross-sectional image, or you can say tomographic image. This principle is going to be used in CT scan. So this CT scan, what we are going to do? We are going to do the X-ray, the same part of the radiography. It is done with the addition of tomographic principle, and it is penetrating and it is reaching. But while exposing, what happened? The X-ray is not kept stationary, as in the case of plain radiography. It is getting rotated. It is getting rotated. What does it mean? It will get a tomograph. So computer tomography is nothing but the same X-ray applying a tomographic principle. So we are getting a cross-sectional image. So the image flowchart, here it is the same, the incident ray and the patient, and it is getting transmitted heterogeneous. While exposing, what happened? The X-ray tube is not stationary, it is getting rotated around the patient. So we are receiving the data, to construct a cross-sectional image. Okay, instead of image receptor, we are having the detector. Instead of image receptor, we are having a detector in the case of CT scan. What are the detectors? That may be a scintillation detector, a gas detector, or solid detector. Okay, after getting the data, after receiving the transmit detector, what does the detector do? It will convert the X-ray beam into electrical signals. It will convert the X-ray beam into electrical signals. That electrical signals are reconstructed by the use of reconstruction algorithm. The signal which is received from the detector have been reconstructed by the help of reconstruction algorithm. What is reconstruction algorithm? It is nothing but a simple mathematical method which a computer can understand. So it is a mathematical method to construct the image. Okay, there it is constructed and then it forms a real image on the monitor. Reconstruction algorithm are of the different types: back projection, Fourier transformation, filter back projection. Okay, these are all the reconstruction algorithm we have been used in CT scan. So what is the major difference between the plain X-ray and the computer tomography? It is nothing but there we are getting a planar image. Here we are getting a cross-sectional image. You know what are the advantages of the cross? That sort of cross-sectional images can be acquired by the use of CT scan. This is one of the image. This is a lung field. So we are getting a cross-sectional image in the case of CT scan. So we have come across the principle, that is attenuation and penetration. Now we are moving to the next principle. What is that? Magnetic resonance and magnetic resonance is a quantum mechanical resonant effect that can a magnetic dipole is exposed to a static magnetic field and perturbed with another oscillating electromagnetic field. Okay, though the definition seems to be somewhat complex, the magnetic resonance physics itself somewhat complex. While the magnet, a small bar magnets are kept inside a big magnetic field, what happened? It is getting aligned. It is getting aligned, and that alignment is said to be magnetic resonance. You can simply. So, what are these things? These are all hydrogen protons. What is hydrogen protons? When we are going to image human body consists of more water molecules. The water molecules consist of hydrogen is having the heat. Hydrogen is having a nucleus. In that nucleus, there is no neutron, only proton is considered to be the hydrogen proton. These are all the protons, hydrogen protons. So in the absence of external magnetic field, the hydrogen protons or hydrogen nucleus are in zigzag direction. These are all in the zigzag direction. Okay, but after applying a main magnetic field, BO is known as main magnetic field. After applying a main magnetic field, what happened? These magnetic, these magnets, the hydrogen protons are considered to be a small magnet, tiny magnet. These, okay, either in the upward direction or in the downward direction. This is said to be net magnetization. This is net magnetization. This is the MRI machine. You all know. So I am coming to the image formation in MR scan. How the image is getting formed in MR scan. Okay, this is the main magnetic field. The patient is kept inside the main magnetic field. When magnetic field, there are some steps underwent in the patient. This is step 1, 2, 3, and 4. What are the steps 1, 3, and 4? This is the steps. All protons become aligned with the magnetic field, main magnetic field. That is the number 1. So, in the absence of magnetic field, what is the nature of the hydrogen proton? It is in the zigzag direction. At any direction, it will be a main magnetic field. That is, we are keeping the patient inside the gantry. What happened? What is the first step? The magnets are being aligned. The small magnets, the tiny magnets, that is the hydrogen protons are getting aligned. That is the first step. Second thing, we are applying a RF frequency pulse. We are applying a radio frequency pulse to the hydrogen nucleus. So that is the second. What about the third step? The aligned photon. The aligned photon by the magnetic field, after getting the RF pulse, what happened? it flips to the transverse plane. It flips. So the central axis, it is at 90°. So it is getting reduced. It is this is known as flip, and this angle is known as flip angle. We can say the aligned photon excited by the RF pulse and it is getting flipped. So that is the third step. Fourth step, we have stopped the RF pulse. What happened? It is returning to its original direction. It is returning to its original direction. Again, I am coming to the first, second, third, fourth step. First, the hydrogen proton is getting aligned when the magnetic field is applied. Second step, we are giving the RF excitation pulse. What happened when we are giving the RF pulse? The aligned proton become excited. This is known as excited. Okay. Again, we are stopping. At the fourth step, we are stopping the RF pulse. The aligned magnetic, or you can say aligned, what you call the excited proton is getting returned to its original path. So this is known as the relaxation, and the time taken for this is known as relaxation time. So coming to the first point again, is happening here. Okay, what happened next? The RF coil receives the signal. Which signal receiving? The signal which is emitted by the RF coil is getting interacted with the patient, and the same signal is getting received by the RF coil. Do the two jobs. One is transmit and receive coil. So during this process, the TE, that is time of echo, and that R, time of relaxation, has been calculated, and depending on the TE and TR, the data are stored in the K space. From the K space, by using again the reconstruction algorithm, image then reconstructed by these algorithms, any one of these algorithm, and the image formation in there. So these are all the steps involved in the MRI. You all know. Now moving to the next property, that is known as the principle of absorption and emission. Here, absorption, we are using the absorption means radiopharmaceutical. First of all, what pharmaceutical? What is radiopharmaceutical? So it is a combination of radionuclide and a carrier. Consider the nucleate. This radionuclide is getting combined. It is getting combined in the carrier. It will use radiopharmaceutical. So we can say the radiopharmaceutical is a combination of radionuclide and carrier. Radionuclide and carrier. Is getting administered to the patient. The radiopharmaceutical, what it contains? It contains a radionuclide. What is the function of the carrier? It carries which? So the radiopharmaceutical, after the administration, it carries the radionuclide to the body, to particular system of the body in which we are going to get image. Okay, so after the absorption, what happened? There is some emission of radio activity, gamma photon or positron. So after getting administered the radiopharmaceutical, it is getting absorbed by the patient body, patient tissue or system. After some time, from the system or tissue or organ, the radiation is getting emitted. The radiation. Okay, the absorption and the emission depends upon the nature of the tissue. Now, if the tissue is normal, the absorption capacity is normal and emission is also normal. If it is is a cancerous cell absorb more glucose. Consider the carrier may be a glucose particle. So if there is a cancerous tissue, what happens? It absorbs more glucose. When it absorbs more glucose, what happens? More amount of radionuclides are getting absorbed. Okay, when compared to the normal tissue. So regarding what happened next for the emission. So because the cancerous tissue absorbs more glucose, because it absorbs more radiopharmaceutical, because it absorbs more radionuclide, it is having the capacity to emit more radiation. It is having the capacity to emit more radiation. So from the cancer tissue, the radiation emitted is more when compared to the normal tissue. So that is the difference happening, and that is the difference we are knowing from the radioisotope imaging, or you can say scintigraphy. So this is the basic principle involved in the gamma camera, PET and SPECT. Okay, the emission takes place from the tissue, the target tissue organ. The emission may be a gamma photon or what is positron? It is nothing but positively charged electron. So based on the absorption and emission, if you are taking a planar image, that modality is said to be gamma camera. I want to take a radioisotope image, but I need a cross-sectional image. So that modality, there is a modality, positron emission tomography, PET, or single photon emission computer tomography, SPECT. So these are all the modality where we can do the radioisotope imaging or scintigraphy. So the image formation I am giving only for the gamma camera. What are the steps involved in the gamma camera? First, as I told, we are administrating the radionuclide. That is, radionuclide means with the radiopharmaceutical. There is the radiopharmaceutical means the combination of radionuclide and the carrier we are administrating. So after getting administrated, it is getting absorbed by the particular tissue, and emission of gamma photon from the target tissue, from the system. Suppose we want to image a renal system, the kidney, ureter, bladder has been absorbed the radioactive pharmaceutical, and from there the gamma photons are getting emitted. These gamma photons emitted by the particular system are getting absorbed, okay, are getting absorbed by the crystal, by the crystal. The crystal convert the detector crystal, the radiation emitted from the body into light energy. So probably we are using a sodium iodide crystal convert the the gamma photons into light photons. Okay, then the light photons has been converted into electrical signals by the help of photomultiplier tube. As we all know, photomultiplier tube is a combination. It contains photomultiplier tube and photocathode. It means it will convert the light photons into electrical signals. That electrical signals is again converted into readable image by the help of reconstruction algorithm. So these are the image we are getting from the gamma camera, and this is from the SPECT. And we are coming to the last point based on the attenuation and reflection. Attenuation we already know and we have already seen, and reflection. What is the reflection? It is a change in direction of the wave at a boundary between two different media, so that the wave moves back into the medium it comes from. So here the rays are coming when it is getting interacted with different type of medium. This is medium 1 and this is medium 2. Okay, there is a change in direction. Okay, there is a change and it will return to the same source. So from this the ray is corrected and this will go again back to the source. Again, go back to the source, it is called reflection. So this is the main component we are using in ultrasound. Based on the reflection of the sound wave, we are using the modality called ultrasonography or ultrasound scanner. In this ultrasound scanner, we are using ultrasound waves. What is ultrasound waves? It is nothing but the wave have the sound wave which is having the frequency more than 20,000 hertz. But we are using 2 megahertz to nearly 15 megahertz in the ultrasound probe. Okay, transducer is the prime component. So this is the transducer. There is a component called piezoelectric crystals. Piezoelectric crystals, when it is getting compressed, it will emit the electrical signals. So what is the in ultrasound imaging? The image formation in ultrasound. First step, so the electric supply is there in probe. What happened when the probe is getting touched with the organ? It is getting touched. Okay, so the electrical is converted into sound waves because of the crystal present in the probe or transducer. There is a piezoelectric crystal. This have the property of conversion of electrical signal into sound waves. The piezoelectric crystal, with the help of some pressure, convert the electrical signal into sound waves. So the production of sound waves takes place in the probe. So the electrical energy is converted into sound wave. That is a step 1. What about the step 2? The sound wave are getting reflected by the tissue. The sound wave from the probe is going and interact with the particular tissue, for example, kidney, and getting reflected. This is getting reflected. The sound wave is getting reflected. The amount of reflection after the attenuation, it receives the transducer again. Okay, so that is the step 3. The reflected sound wave are converted to electrical signals and later form the image. So the signal is again received, and this signal is again converted into electrical signals. First of all, I'm telling it repeat. The electrical signal is waves produced in the probe is getting interacted with the body tissue, and again it is getting echoed. The echoed sound wave is received by the probe. Again, the sound wave is converted into electric form, a readable image. This is the image formation principle doing in the ultrasound. So this is the image. We all know about the ultrasound. So coming to the end, principles and what are the imaging modality and what are the main components and what are the types of image we are getting from the imaging. One by one. First, attenuation and penetration principle. We all know the principle. So based on this principle, radiography. What are the main components? It is X-ray tube, film screen cassette, and DR panel. It depends upon the departments. Okay, what type of image we are getting? We are getting a linear image. So that is the thing. So with this, we are adding one more principle. That is, with the attenuation and penetration, we are adding one more principle. What is that? Tomographic principle. So that imaging modality is CT scan. The important components, as I said, X-ray tube is there, and the detector is the main component, and we are getting a cross-sectional image. About the magnetic resonance property, the imaging modality, what are the main components? It is magnet and RF coil. What type of image we are getting? We are getting image. Next, absorption and emission. The imaging modality is gamma camera. The main component is crystal and a photomultiplier tube. What are the images we are getting? A linear image, but the image we are getting in gamma camera and X-ray, that is different. Here it is linear functional image, but here we are getting only linear anatomic image. Okay. Then we are adding to another principle with the absorption and emission, that is tomographic principle. With this, we are constitute the imaging main components, crystals and photomultiplier tube, and we are getting a cross-sectional functional image. Principle, reflection, that is echo. The modality, imaging modality is ultrasound scanner, and the main component we are using is the transducer. We are getting a linear and a multi-dimensional image, 2D image, 3D image we are getting now in the ultrasound scan. Okay, now coming into the webinar topic, and if you want to ask any questions, you can ask. If there is no question, we can end the topic. Is there any question? Okay. Thank you for your kind attention. Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful and informative presentation. It will definitely uplift the knowledge of our students and fellow radiological staffs. So, as you said, radiological staff should have knowledge about the basics of all the modalities in the radiology department. Without the knowledge of these basics, there cannot be any advancements. So today in this session, we are discussing both about the basic and the advancement in the radiology. So once again, sir, we are very much thankful enough to have you in this platform. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. Because in this Google Meet, the students are not here. Only our teachers are there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there is any queries, we will let you know, sir, from the student side.
Okay, madam. Okay, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. My special thanks to Sarbari Saha for organizing and reminding each and every time about the progress of the program. Very much thanks for all the organizers and the students being in the online platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It is our pleasure, sir, to have you and to listen from you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
So, moving to our next topic of this academic session, I would like to say a small shift in your thinking and small changes in your energy can lead to a big revolution. Our intelligence is what makes us human, and artificial intelligence is an extension of that quality. The coming era of artificial intelligence in the radiology department will be one of the greatest achievements in the medical field. To discuss the importance of AI in radiology and elevation of patient care with artificial intelligence, we have our next speaker, Mr. Nitish Virmani, sir. Sir, we are fortunate enough to have you in this session. Sir is presently working as an assistant professor of Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, SGT University. He is also pursuing his PhD. Sir has attended more than 20 national conferences and won international conference. He has 4.5 years of experience in the academic field and more than 4 years of industrial experience. He is academic member of various universities, and along with that, he is also the secretary and director of academics in Med Skill Development and Educational Society, Jhajar. Now, I would like to request Nitish Virmani, sir, to start the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Ms. Subarna. Thank you. First, I would like to thank to the chief partner, that is Professor Dr. Banerjee, Principal Ma'am, and Dr. Raichand Shah for the course coordinator, and the coordinators of the organizing committee of this webinar, that is the Ms. Subarna Debnath, that is you, and the Sarbari Shah. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and definitely I'm happy to share the platform with such a great personality like Tamijeselvan sir. and happy to share with you screen, sir, also. Now I would like to start my topic. As the task is given to me, that is the role of artificial intelligence in radiology. So his PPT is visible? Subarna?
Yes, sir. It is
Thank you.
visible, sir.
So first of all, before starting this PPT, I would like to congratulate you all. It is our 125th World Radiography Anniversary Day, and congratulate you all. We must celebrate this day which best we can do, because this is a memory and a tribute to our WC Ranjan sir for his great discovery. So the task is given to me is the role of artificial intelligence in radiology and the care of patient. So before starting the topic, we must always have the tribute to the WC Ranjan, because he has give us a discovery of X-ray on 8th November, that is today, in 1895. And immediately after the discovery of X-ray, the use of X-ray for the clinical application was started. Not only for the clinical, it is also started for the forensic purpose. We have to know what is the artificial intelligence, to understand the working nature of artificial intelligence, to know the role of AI, and to know the future of radiology. And we can imagine the future with the AI also. So as the Tamijeselvan sir well explained all these basic principle of all these equipments, because sir also remind me my graduation and post graduation days by giving the briefing, such a wonderful briefing of the basic knowledge of these equipments. And I don't think so that as the sir has explained the basic knowledge of all this equipment I get in my graduation or post graduation day, thanks to you, sir, to reminding me my college days by explaining your wonderful knowledge with us. So as we know, we have the multiple various imaging equipments in our department, like X-ray, CT, MRI, CM, DSA, biplanar, single planar, and the sonography equipment, PET scan. So all of these equipments work on their own different principle. So what is the common in all this equipment? And the imaging platform of all this equipment is common, that is DICOM. This is a digital imaging and communication in medicine. So with the different workstation, we have a different software also. That is the first, as I told you, the DICOM. Second, we have a most important software in the hospital, that is the hospital information system, where we mark the entry of the patient and we kept the detail of the patient till the we give the treatment to the patient and we release the patient from the hospital. And we have a RIS. RIS is a radiology information system in which we get to know which kind of radiology procedure patients wants, clinician wants for his patient. And next, the most important software in the radiology, we have a PACS. The PACS is picture archiving and communication system. So what PACS do basically? The PACS basically is a single platform from which we can assess the various equipments, like all the equipments, I must say, in the hospital only, not only in the radiology, all the equipment in the hospitals we can access from the PACS only. So we can, and if we talk about the radiology only, we can assess the MRI equipment images, we can assess the CT images, we can assess the X-ray, CR, DR, DEXA, sonography, and each and every equipment. We can get the printout done, we can save the data into the soft forms like in CD, DVD, and nowadays pen drive is trending, and the data in server basics, save the data in servers also, that we all can access from the PACS only. So what we can think, can the PACS will be the future of AI, it will be the best option, or the each or every individual equipment with the AI will be the best option? So now let's find out the answer, but is the perfect answer. I must say, before moving further and dreaming about the future of radiology, we must know what is the daily scenario of the artificial intelligence and which kind of equipments we are using nowadays on our daily basis in our routine life. So these are well-known equipments nowadays. Everybody know and using these equipments nowadays in directly or indirectly form. Like we have a Google Assistant and in every smartphone, in every Android phone, and also we have a Google Mini, Google Home, Alexa, and the Siri in iPhone and Apple phones. So everybody is using these various softwares, or we can say the equipments, for their daily lives, for their fun purpose and for the learning purpose also. So back to the radiology department. So why this advancement is required? why we need to know about the artificial intelligence, why not we are just working with the equipment as we are doing the present days, why we think about the future, what will be beneficial with the AI in the radiology. So once we enter into the hospital, the doors get automatically on and off. That is the example of short example of AI. And this can be the future of AI with the future of radiology with the AI. Like AI can help us to give the better patient care, for the better patient treatments, for the helping in surgeries also, to help in diagnosis purpose also, to helps in rehab centers. So each and every location in the hospital, AI can help us and to give us the better care to the patient. Because once the X-rays were discovered, it was not, we were not aware that the radiation could be the as much useful as we are using nowadays. So if we look from if we learn from the past scenarios, we can improve our present and we can think about the future also. So the future of radiology, I must say, it is, well, it is only with the AI. So before knowing about the also the artificial intelligence, let's have a look what is the AI. So AI is ability of a machine to perform a task that would normally require a person to do. And like human, it is a ability to take information, make decisions based on it, and cause an action to be taken, such as moving an arm, creating an image or text, providing a suggestions. So that is the definition, a sort of definition we can say is the artificial intelligence. So there are some categories of AI. So artificial intelligence categories are: number one, we have a artificial super intelligence, an intellect that is much smarter than the best human brains in practically every field, including the scientific creativity, journal wisdom, and social skills. And artificial general intelligence comes under the ability to apply intelligence to any problem rather than just one specific problem. That is the human level intelligence, comes under the general intelligence. And the next we have a artificial narrow intelligence, the machine intelligence that equals or exceed to the human intelligence or efficiency at a specific task. That means the equipment by the command is given by the human and to do or perform a specific task. Like we have a nowadays humanless or driverless cars, we have a pilotless drones for the specific task to do. And the recent change have given boom to the AI is cloud technology. Cloud is the technology where we can store our data on server, because if we are saving our data in CPU in a big computer system in the hospital, they can get the malfunction. The equipment can easily get malfunction, easily get be hacked. And definitely if the working system is there, the power supply and the each and every malfunction can what can happen, and the like in the department can give the disadvantage to the patient care. But the cloud technology where we can store it, our data on server, that can give the advantages to us. And the great processing powers, graphic power units, can also rise to the AI softwares. So because AI need big data means, I don't means that 100 or 1000 samples of data. It needs a million or trillions of data to work or useful for the AI. So from where the AI technology started? It started or thinking about in 1950s. Like I must say, in 1950s in India, nobody knows the computers also. But in 1950, the thinking or thoughts about AI were started. But early 30 years, like till 1980s, there was no any. We can say the work has been done with the AI, or no any deep thoughts were made. After 1980s, the machine learning has been started, and after 2010 the deep learning has been started. And the deep learning was the main the software main thing that gives the breakthrough or a drive to AI boom basically. So what is AI? Again, the artificial intelligence is a field of study that combines statistics, computer science, and engineering to develop these systems capable of performing specific tasks to at or above the human ability. And it also refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. And the term may also be applied to any machine that exhibit traits associated with the human mind, such as learning and self problem solving. So I think before early slides, I must have been clear to all you the what is AI, what is the benefits, and how it's going to help us. But before moving forward, we must know how the technology works, because as we know, we must aware with the equipment, our equipments like in X-ray, CT, and MR, how their basic working principles before given on a hands-on on the equipments. So we must know the how the AI also works. So the major part of AI is machine learning. Machine learning is a type of AI that is not explicitly programmed to perform a specific task, but rather than can learn iteratively to make prediction or decision. The more data an ML model is exposed to it, the better is performed over the time. And the deep learning is a subset of machine learning that is can be use the artificial neural networks model after how the human brain process the information to learn from huge amount of data. A well-designed and well-trained deep learning model is able to perform classification tasks. Just hold for a second. Just give me 1 minute. So yes, so we are talking about the deep learning is a useful artificial uses the artificial neural networks model after how the human brains process the information to learn from the huge amount of data, and it also work on the human experts level performance. Machine learning and deep learning, it learns the computer to think without being programmed, and it learns from the experience by input of training data. Machine learning makes perspective based upon the skills learned from the training data which has been fed before. It also makes advanced statistical calculation with the algorithm. And the deep learning is a subfield of machine learning. It's a type of machine learning based upon multi-layer cake data set. So what is the multi-layer cake? The cake in which we have the input layer, we have the hidden layer, and we have the output layers. So the layer says, but once first we have a neural networks, then we have a multi-stage information distillation and model to purify information. And we have an input layer where we fed the information. Then we also have a hidden layers that have the artificial neurons combine signal and calculating different weights from the data in each neuron. The output of the layer is passed through to the next level. And the last layer, we have the output layer that is fully connected layer and the classifiers where we get the output result. So the current trend of deep learning is getting higher and higher. The number of articles were published in 2013 that was less than 15, and more than 15 in 2014, and approximately 100 articles were published in 2015. And nowadays, more than 250 articles has been publishing in onwards 2016 onwards. So where it is all happening, and where it is started, and where it is all happening, it is starting or happening in the medical image computing and computer assisted intervention. That is the collaboration with the American College of Radiology, where more than 1,600 attendees were attend this program, and more than 1,000 projects were submitted on the core area of artificial intelligence. That is the great rate. Also in the neural information processing system, where the more than 8,000 attendees were attend in 2017, and more than 3,000 projects, AI-based projects were submitted. Nowadays, the big industries, we can say the shark of our medicine era, the industries are like GE, IBM, Philips, and many others are putting their steps and investing their money in the development of AI systems. And the American College of Radiologists has announced its own data science institute for the AI purpose only. So what is the future of radiology? That the AI is the future of radiology, then the humans will being chased to the robots, or the robots will being chased by the humans. What will happen? So do we really think so that we are going to chase the robots, or we can going to chase the AI artificial intelligence expertise level? I think we must think about it, and we must have to be curious about it to know the working phenomena and to know the future of our future of our medicine. So how it's going to trend? So where from we can start? Like we can see the some loopholes in the systems. We can see the find out some program based information what we are having nowadays, like because the AI works on the training of the system. They works on the machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning is what where we feed the data into the system and machine get learn from its data, and the deep learning is what from where the equipment learn by the experiences, by the task is performed or given the error by the error or result by the equipment, or we can say the system, and the it is update himself him or like system get update himself on the daily basis. So like for the example, we have Google photo image classifier tagged a black person as a gorilla. So if you can say here, we have a skyscraper, two buildings, which is marked by the Google scanner as skyscraper. That is correct. But if we can see, the airplane wing is marked as airplane or airplanes, because it's a partially correct answer, but it is not actually correct. And here we have the example of cars, because there is only one single car, and the Google image classifier marked as cars. Here we have the example of bike, because there is a man sitting on the bike, and the Google scanner marked as a bike, but he did not I forgot about to mark the human also. But some features, a face feature is matched with the gorilla. The Google image classified marked this black woman as a gorilla. So that was the very bad result. And once we have, and the next we have a dress up like in a graduation or day, we can the scanner is marked as a graduation. So as I quoted here, because the Google's the artificial intelligence works on the algorithm, and the algorithms are based on the reality, but the reality is not based on the algorithm. Reality is far different from the algorithms. So how the human neural network works, that we are well known about the our neural structures, that we are well aware of it, how our brain works. And similarly the artificial brain works with their artificial neural networks. It looks like similar, their working pattern is moreover similar, but the ability to process the data is very fast, is very far away from our ability, for our human brain ability. Yes, they both look same, but the human works with the emotional intelligence, and AI set is work with the data set. Human will see the humanity first, but AI will not bother about the humanity. So we must know about it, so that we can use this system and handle this complex non-linear and parallel information processing system. Information is stored, processed in a neural networks simultaneously throughout the whole network, rather than at a specific location. In other words, in neural networks, both data and its processing are global rather than it's local. So we'll be thinking about the people around us, the people we loved or love, best care to the patient, best diagnosis to offer our patient, saving their lives, etc. But the artificial neural network is consists of a number of very simple processors, also called neurons, which are analogous to the biological neurons in the brain. The neurons are connected by weight line passing signals from one neuron to the another. The output signal is transmitted through the neuron's outgoing connection, and the outgoing connection splits into a number of branches that transmit the same signal. The outgoing branches terminates at the incoming connection of other neurons in the networks. It only works on the mathematics, formula, and algorithms applying on the preset data. So this is a structure of, or we can say the architecture of artificial neural networks. That is that we have an input layer, middle layer, and output layer. So how AI works in the medicine or medical imaging? AI has excelled to recognize the patterns in large volume of data, extracting relationship between complex feature in the images, identifying the characteristic to the infinite number of image data, identify the pre-feed landmark of the anatomy, pathology, and other details, can differentiate in the between abnormal and normal anatomical structure, and process images diagnosis rapidly as compared to clinician. AI also optimize the workload and patient flows in the hospital. So how we can manage our patients data, and we can give training to the system, that is the by the mapping of the each and every organ with the different color coding, so that the AI can recognize the patterns. Because the equipment will not going to learn by itself, because we have to first give training to the system, and after onwards The system will get the update or learning by itself by their experience. So as we can see here in the images, we mark the liver in the different color code, and we mark the spleen, stomach, kidneys, vessels in the different color code. Similarly, the right kidney in different color code, left kidney in different, and the pancreas in the different color coding, so that the AI can recognize the pattern. So it is not like that we have marked in the one patient's image data set this color coding, and the next patient data set will be recognized by the eye. We have to mark this data set and give training to the various when can give give to the huge number of patient data set, so that the AI can well recognize these kind of patterns by the heat mapping process. This is the, as you can see on your right, there is a blue color for the normal lungs, and we have a red color for the major pathologies. We have a yellow for the differentiate between the abnormal and normal structures, and also we have marked the green and blue zone for the affecting area. So this marking is known as the heat mapping. We can process the data by this method, so that the AI can recognize with the next data set. This is the second example of the heat mapping, marking the abnormal structures in the chest PA view. So the advancement with AI is basically it can help to the radiologist or pathologist for the better diagnosis, because as our agenda says, we must think about the patient safety first and the care of patient first. So AI can help us in that manner, because it helps the radiologist and pathologist for the better diagnosis. It has the ability to auto image analysis, and it can show the intelligence during the procedure by the auto correction of planning and positioning and scanning. Deep learning can analyze the data set of images and predict the future diagnosis also, and the AI can also help us the scientific research. It can be integrated with the image information, so that the physician can make decision with more confidence and can plan the line of treatment of patient. The quality in care of patient will be increased. So AI diagnosis efficiency nowadays is automated visual evaluation is a deep learning artificial intelligence, and it approaches the use to evaluate digitized images of each pathological structure is an automated process that predict the probability that the image represent a case of pre-cancer and the cancer stages. The sensitivity of the approach is 91%. Also, as I told you, the machine learning and deep learning are two different aspects of the AI. The future of the data a computer has used in its decision making process. Additional efforts are needed to reveal how the algorithm arrives at the decision or prediction, so that the process become transparent to clinician. And in making these algorithm transparent, that could help to the researchers to the think or know the more about the biological future and relevant to the disease diagnosis. The reporting of AI, we have also have the feature with the semi-automation of reporting, that is the automated inclusion of quantitative data, the automated computer aid reporting, automated cancer and pre-cancer term scoring, like we have a BIRADS that we use in breast cancer imaging, auto adoption of style and language for reporter and the reader, auto labeling of anatomy and pathology, auto quality control of reporting, like guide the reporter to the missing points and the guide the reader towards the major points, and match the dataset with the older dataset and help to maintain the image quality output. So the device miming cognitive function from the 1950s to the 2010, we have the wonderful upgradation of each and every equipment, and also with the AI. So now you will be wondering how many research papers has been published on AI, and how many work has been done nowadays. So the major thing is the publication on AI has drastically increased from the 100 to 150 papers per year in 2007 and 2008. We have nowadays more than 1,000 paper from 2017 onwards, and in more than 1,000 papers, we have a 50% of medical papers in which we have a MRI and computerized technology based papers on the AI only. And the neuroradiology appears in the about one third and one third of these papers, and followed by the musculoskeletal, cardiovascular, and the others like lungs and abdomen is carrying the 6 to 9% of the articles. That is a big number we have uh, nowadays on the research publication. It is seems like the everybody is nowadays working on a some kind of artificial intelligence technology, and everybody is thinking about the future and present scenario of AI. So let's have a look on some published cases studies on the AI. In 1963, first 50 years was the failure of the AI as I told you, and after that, some great scientist has worked on this technology. The one paper I found that is published in 1963 that says the coding of Ranjan images for computer analysis and applied to the lung cancer. So they use these computer technology for the assessment of cancer in 1963. Next, the latest paper that is published in 2017 says the both radiologists and pathologists are at risk of being replaced by the AI. So the fear generates a fear in the brain and the radiologist and pathologist brain that their job can be replaced by AI. So AI has the X-ray reporting system also, that is using in the King's College of London and the University of Warwick in UK, and it also developed the using of more than 4 lakh fully anonymized institutional adults chest radiographs that is acquired in 2007 to 2017. And they also assembled the 2 deep convolution neural networks was then trained to predict the clinician priority from the radiological appearance that is alone. So more than 15,000 independent data set were prioritized the radiograph, and the predictions value were prediction value were find out that it will be there is the sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive values, and the negative predictive values. The result was the sensitivity was the 71%, the specificity was the 95, and the positive predictive values was 73, and the negative was 94. That is the again great success rate that was we achieved in the research papers. We also have the systems with the AI, that is the mammography equipment with AI for the screening of mammography and to assist the cancerous or pre-cancerous stage. As we know, the screening of mammography is technically challenged to exactly interpret it, but AI can assist us to interpretation in the part of identifying and characterizing the microcalcifications. And AI, CT, and MRI, like we are nowadays using a smart prep or bolus tracking. However, the smart prep and bolus tracking works on the CT number. That when the CT number approaches at a particular level, it hits the auto start the scan. But still, this is not the kind of artificial intelligence, but still it plays the narrow artificial intelligence technique. We have a thoracic image with the AI. As we know, the lung cancer is one of the most common and deadly tumors. Lung cancer screening can help to identify the pulmonary nodules and in early detection, being life-saving in many patients. Then the AI can help us. Also, we can use the AI technology with the abdomen and pelvic imaging, colonoscopy, brain imaging, and each and every part. But that is with the individual equipments of the radiology. Let's have a look nowadays how the AI helping us for the using of current scenario, that is the COVID-19 pandemic. So there is the observational study on the COVID-19 detection by the using of AI. It says the CT is a non-invasive imaging approach can detect the certain characteristic manifestation in the lungs associated with the COVID-19. Therefore, the CT could serve as an effective way for early screening and diagnosis of COVID-19. So the deep learning algorithm is capable to make diagnosis, illness, to measure the illness and degree of urgency, monitoring the COVID-19 cases. So in the current scenario, AI tool will supplement standard nucleic acid test or nucleic acid amplification technology as primary diagnostic tool for the coronavirus infection. A swab for a nucleic acid test can be taken in a car or any isolated location, while a chest scan is performed in an enclosed space with the staff nearby. The technique presents challenges including the patient's radiation dose and also increase the equipment. Many other national and international organizations explicitly recommend against the use of CT as a first line of screening test because it is a highly sensitive matter. Because if we use the CT equipment for one COVID-19 positive patient, we have to close that particular zone for the minimum 3 to 4 hours, and we also have to sterilize this particular zone many times. So we cannot use more than 3 to 4 patients. We cannot use the CT equipment more than 3 to 4 patients in a day. So many organizations says the CT cannot be the first line screening test for the COVID-19 patients. So the teams in China and United States found the lungs of patients with the COVID-19 symptom had certain visual hallmarks such as ground glass opacity. Hazy darkened spots in the lung diffuse enough that they don't block the underlying blood vessel or lung structures, and the area of increased lung density called consolidation. After that, the Chinese technology giant Alibaba announced an AI algorithm from its research unit, that is the Demo Academy, and they can diagnose these kind of suspected cases within 20 seconds with the 96% of accuracy. So now the again question arises the how the AI works to diagnose the COVID-19. The method that is using the technology is a deep learning model where COVID-19 detection neural networks can be developed to extract visual features from the volumetric chest exam, the detection of COVID-19, the community acquired pneumonia, and the other pneumonia CT exams can be included. But the imaging protocol of the each and every patient must remain same. That we need to examine the patient in a volumetric exam, and the CT slices with the varying slices thickness for the few and the reconstruction matrix we must use the 512 into 512 so that the data can be processed with the AI system and it can recognize the patterns also. Once the deep learning model is trained, it should be quick enough to process a new testing exam. The average processing time for the each CT scanner exam should be less than a few seconds on the workstation, and the localization of mapping the affected area should be fully generated by the model without additional manual annotation. As I told you in early slides, the heat mapping is a process where we can mark the abnormal structures and normal structures in a particular organ or particular area of interest. So similarly, we can mark the COVID-19 hallmarks in that heat mapping technology. By the heat mapping, the abnormal regions while ignore and the normal regions can be assessed. So there is the example where the heat mapping process is done on the COVID-19 positive patients. As you can see, the highly sensitive zone is the red zone and the less sensitive is the yellow, and the infected area is marked in the different color, that is the green or blue, that is the in between the green and blue. And the blue area is normal lung structure. So the result will be the basis on the training and independent testing of training. More the data set will get in the AI, the accuracy of result will get. Now back to the our prime question. So is the PEX with the AI is the future? So I say the answer is yes. For the all above data set in the different modalities like X-ray we have read, the CT data set we have read, the MRI data set we have read. When all with this equipment we need AI in the separate and individual equipments. But if we have the AI with the PEX, because what AI need to be fed by the data set, and on the particular one location we can have the data set on the huge on the huge number, that is the PEX. So the PEX will be the best destination and the best area to get the data set, to get the access of a data set done. So the PEX can help through AI to assess and process all the imaging and the modality data. It doesn't mean that we cannot use the AI with the other modalities also. Definitely we can use the AI technology with other modalities, like for the planning of patient, for the corrections of the correction of the we can processors, or the correction of the techniques to modify the radiation doses, terms, MA and KVP also. Also the AI can use to the student training also, like advanced simulation softwares can help to the student to learn the feature of the equipment. AI can help the student to stepwise practice on the equipment, and it also can guide the student to manage the risk associated with the procedure and can help to them prevent. AI can also guide them on the each wrong step during the procedure. So now let's feel the virtual world reality, and we can say the virtual reality and the artificial intelligence world. So here is the example of virtual reality with AI. So this one's, as we can see, there we can see the anatomy in detail by the virtual reality. There is simple ways we know to use the virtual reality VR glasses as we have in the nowadays in malls, cinema halls. So these kind of VR glasses can convert it into the virtual reality radiography with the artificial intelligence, so that the student can feel the anatomical details of each and every patient. And definitely these kind of intelligence will use the images of our CT and MRI data set, so that it can that can virtually reconstruct and gives a virtual reality feel to the students to know the more details in the more details. There is the second example. So this was the virtual feeling of the radiology data set. Definitely, these kind of equipment needs a huge amount of data to process and reconstruct these data set, and can give us the real view of the each and every anatomy. So only the VR glasses need to be read with the specific one device that by which we can give the, like we can use the data set to the like zoom in zoom out by the cutting of cutting to the axial cornel and this is sagittal plane. And also the devices can convert the data into the volume rendering set, so that we can assess the data in our choice of mode. What we want to really want to see, we want to see the diseases, the normal structures, normal anatomical details, everything. So the virtual reality in the learning or the practice of radiography is another example of the by this video. We can use this technology for the learning of students also. So as you have seen that these devices can help the student to learning the step by step the radiography. As you can see, you have seen in this video, this is an animated video, and this can give the real feel of the radiography. But because the using of radiation is a highly sensitive, though we have to must know about that the patient care is our first priority. We cannot expose the patient for the demo purpose or for the training of the student purpose only. So students can easily learn by this technology, because there is no any patient, no any equipment, no any radiation dose, but the AI technology can gives the learning by the step by steps. Each and every step the radiographer has to follow, and AI can also guide and give rise to the career to the students if they get these if they get the opportunity to learn on these kind of equipments. So there is a benefit of AI in medicines are this is the highly accuracy and differentiate between the abnormal and normal structures. This is also our take home message, that the AI has the accuracy in ability to prediction in cancer and pre-cancer cases, that is improving the cancer screening and diagnosis, adding the genomic and characterization of tumor, and accelerating the drug discoveries involving the cancer surveillance, avoiding the pitfalls in the oncology, and assessing the quality cancer data. AI also reduce the high radiation dose effects that can decrease by the 60%. So the benefits of AI are that it can assist the physician, clinician decision making better clinical decisions, replace the human judgment in certain functions area of healthcare, up-to-date medical information from journal, textbooks, and clinical practice, experienced versus fresh clinician, and 24 into 7 availability of experts and the early diagnosis. And AI can also give us the prediction of outcome of disease as well as the treatment. The feedback of the treatment reinforce non-pharmacological management, reduce the diagnostic and therapeutic errors, increase the patient safety and huge cost saving associated with the use of AI. An AI system extract the useful information from a large patient population, assist making a real-time interface for health risk alert and the health outcome predictions, learning and self-correcting abilities to improve the accuracy on the basis of the feedbacks that as we have nowadays the driverless cars, smart homes, identifying the disease, tumors, and many more. So let's have a look on the future of radiology with the AI. So what will be can happen in within the next 5 to 10 or 10 to 50 or 50 to 100 years? The possibility in 5 to 10 years, when the radiologist opens a chest CT, AI will help. We already have reviewed the patient's emergency medical records and image and will point out the some potential findings. That means it will give the auto diagnosis of the patient's data set with their previous record, and will also classify the normal and abnormal structures. Radiologists will be focused more on working up the abnormal results, like on biopsy treatments, advanced technologies, and like Alexa kind of technology can give the digital assistant to the radiologist also. And that's definitely the intelligence of the equipment will we can see like the tube performance, shielding protocols, positioning, and during the acquisition, automatic dose modulation, adjusting for the movement and breathing, post accuracy like reconstruction, segmentation, and 3D renderings, etc. And within that, like to answer the difficult questions like why do non-smoker get lung cancer, and the SCPs will being to mix a patient social graph and the home data with their medical and omic data set. Also with their difficult answer like the in the 10 to 20 years we have these kind of technologies, approximately in the 50 year, that is the my idea that we have these kind of technologies, because I have taken this video on a particular Hollywood science fiction movie, like where the equipment can detect the acute lymphoblastic leukemia, that is a type of cancer, within a few seconds, and the patient will can get treated by this equipment also within a few seconds. So these kind of therapeutic devices with the artificial intelligence we can have more than 20 to 30 years in our department also. That is my thinking, that is the my view from which I have read in the. So that was the my side for today. If is there any question or any doubt, I can answer, but the my question always remains same. Whenever I choose this topic and talk about this topic, I always ask to the students, can the AI replace the radiologist and radiographers? That we need to think about, that we need to find out the answer. So yes, thank you so much to the TIPS University and the management team for giving me the opportunity to share my valuable knowledge and thoughts on this platform and sharing the platform with you all. Thank you so much. If is there any question, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Nitish sir, for your valuable insights on artificial intelligence. Yes, yes, sir. Sir, do you have any questions, sir, Tamil sir?
No, it's a nice, it was a nice presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. That is like also a great opportunity for me to sharing a platform like you, personality like you, because
Yeah.
definitely I quoted you that you remind me my college days, like how you explain the basic information. Somewhere how when we are in teaching we forget the these minor basic details. So the kind of explanation is always required
Oh,
to share
yeah.
the
Very
knowledge
much.
with
Thank you.
students. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, okay.
So,
Thank you very much.
yeah. Okay. So, as sir has said that artificial intelligence, yes, it's a boon for radiology. And as sir has mentioned, it will be reducing the workload by doing tremendous works for creating better healthcare services. And as sir has mentioned in the PPT, we have to keep in mind that humans have emotion, but machines doesn't have emotion. So we should be very much cautious when we are using this machine, and also we will get the better upliftment of radiology to provide better healthcare services. Well, after that, may I now request Mr. Rahul Pal, Assistant Professor, Tripura Institute of Paramedical Sciences, to express few words about the session to our esteemed audience. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sarbari madam, to introduce me in this webinar. Very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present over here. I want to say some points regarding AI technology. Nitish sir already discussed about this AI technology very well, about all the uh, future technology in the radiology department. Okay, so AI is there are machine learning and deep learning. All these are the subset of AI. Actually, and from that Nitish sir discussion, we got to know that in our everyday life also we are using AI. That means AI is not something new, but installation or the use of AI in medical science, in medical imaging, that is new thing. That will be more interesting in future, I think. So nowadays we are using Google. So sometimes question arise that how come Google know everything? Whatever we instantly Google show us the
Can raise their curiosity and to know more about the AI, to more read about the AI.
yes
Because
sir,
definitely we are know that the AI cannot replace, because definitely we are the human, we people have to give command to the AI to get the upgradation, to give
yes,
the rights to the people. Yes, there
yes
is
sir,
also a negative point, because this technology uses the huge number of data set, the patient's basic information and patient personal information. So definitely these
yes,
equipments also have some get like licensing system, that particular some person in the authority or some person in the hospital get to have access to use this kind of technology. Or
yes
like
sir,
if the some higher authority like the MS and the chief radiologist can have the proper access of AI technique, but the junior radiologist and the radiographer have a limiting access to the these kind of softwares. I'll give you the one example.
okay sir,
Like in south we
okay
are
sir,
using I forget the name, we are using this AI system for the chest diagnosis purpose, chest PA diagnostic purpose, where the AI system only does what it does, it differentiate the abnormal cases and normal cases, and abnormal cases directly
okay,
move to the radiologist cabin or to his system to get the report done, and the normal cases is moved to the junior or new fresh radiologist to have a second look or second opinion, so that they can give the clear chit that the patient is normal. So these kind of
okay,
assesses, this kind of managing the load that we required to like to manage and use of the system. Definitely each and every technology have their positive side and the negative side, so thus we must think about the positive and we
yes,
have to control the negative sides. That's the
yes sir,
agenda. Thank you
okay
so
sir,
much.
thank you sir, thank you sir, thank you madam.
Yes. Thank you, Nitish sir, for answering our queries. And also thank you, Mr. Rahul sir, for joining the session and sharing your valuable feedbacks. To Mr. Tamijeselvan sir. Sir,
Yes, madam.
yeah. So we have a question from online virtual platform. The question is, sir, are the reconstruction algorithm for CT and MR same? This question has been placed by our ex-student, Mr. Debnath.
No, actually, the basic algorithm is same, but depending upon the data we are getting, it will differ. Actually.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, sir. So, with that, this is the end of our educative session. And from here, I would say that a famous quote by T. Roosevelt that do you what you want, where you can, and what you have. Giving up is not a failure, it's a chance of beginning again. Yes, in this pandemic situation, this quote remind me and my co-host that what the challenges we have succeeded, and nothing is impossible for us. Yes, we have the courage, ability to reach our goals, and today we have reached our goals. Thank you everyone for joining this wonderful session from the journey of radiology from 1895 to 2020. Now, we have came to the end of the webinar session.
Program has been entrusted on me to give the vote of thanks. I am attached with radiology since 1978, and I like member, lifetime life member of IRIA since 1985. And after that, up till now, I have completed the works, government works and private sector also for since 76. And lastly, I am attached to these TIPS, Tripura Institute of Paramedical Sciences, in 2009 from its inception. So vote of thanks will go to our principal madam, Professor Dr. Chhanda Banerjee, who is attached with us for a long time. So second person or second part of, the guest lectures, there are two guest, the well-known guest lectures, one from Pondicherry, another from Haryana, From Pondicherry, Mr. S. Tamijeselvan, Assistant Professor of Radiology, Mother Teresa Postgraduate and Research Institute of Health Section, Health Sciences, Pondicherry. Second guest lecturer, Mr. Nitish Virmani, Assistant Professor of Allied Health Sciences, Sri Gobind Singh, Tricentenary University, Gurugram, Haryana. They delivered a very lengthy and very informative lecture today that will come to our students as well as we ourselves also. Because this session, in this days, in this COVID-19 position days are going on, in this situation, we don't get any student, as if a marriage ceremony is going on without Banerjee. Anyway, so we have heard for a long time the elaborate discussion, especially by the Nitish Virmani, which will come to our present students and ourselves also. And some that is your images are also seen by Nitish Virmani. That will also come to the students also, if they can see afterwards. So next, the vote of thanks will go to my faculty members, beloved faculty members, including our Shree madam and Subarna madam, and also Rahul sir, and other senior faculty members of the team, those who are attached here from the Gobind section. So very well experienced persons there. And also my beloved students, the students, particularly the old students and ex-students, I mean the new students, present students and the ex-students, those who have completed this course earlier. And before that, they were completed this course by other short course system. They are about our respected old students also. And next vote of thanks will go particularly is the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Kollur sir, and Mr. Madhavan ji, and other technical and non-technical person, and also other who are directly, who are helping directly or indirectly in this session, particularly light and sound. So this is about the vote of thanks, and also I like to mention few words about the vote of thanks to this. And also I like to just include one point, our guest lecturers, both in very much eminent lecturers of the day. They will also enjoy the day. Very short, small city. This is a very small city, capital city rather, in India, but it has got something to see by you as important. And you will enjoy the day. There are other programs also. And so this is about my last part of the next session. So this is a vote of thanks to all of you. Those I could not mention here, but I also thank them for attending the program on online session. This is my last speech. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Raichand sir, for giving us time and share your valuable words with us. Now we are at the end of this webinar session, and I hope this session was beneficial for everyone in this joined in this webinar. Now I would like to thanks all the speakers, dignitaries, and other participants on this webinar, and also the tips management for all your support for organizing this webinar. Once again, a happy World Radiography Day to you all. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.